Hey everybody, Greg here for what Victor the Junkyard would call another random thought. And to think about it, I put on my sexy thinking glasses. I usually wear contact lenses. If you've seen some of my other videos, I'm not wearing glasses. I'm wearing contact lenses in those videos. But these are damn sexy Ray-Bans, I think. Anyway, I was watching, actually rewatching, something on the internet called Connections, which was a 1970s documentary miniseries written and hosted by a guy named James Burke. And it kind of got me thinking, not about what the documentary was about, which I'll get into, but anyway, but about documentaries themselves, specifically television documentaries. Connections is right up there in terms of television documentaries with, in my mind, right up there with Carl Sagan's Cosmos, which is, both of these are really amazing. If you can find both of them, Connections is on YouTube. I'm not sure how you can get Cosmos, but if you can, check it out. These are probably the best television documentaries I've ever seen. And it got me thinking about television documentaries in general. And television documentaries, just to define this so that everyone's clear, is documentaries that are made specifically to be broadcast on television. Connections and Cosmos are both miniseries, but they don't necessarily have to be. When I was a kid, when I was still living with my parents, my dad had a very strict rule about watching television. We had cable, we had Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and all that fun stuff. Saturday morning cartoons and our Disney afternoons and all that. And he had a very strict rule. For every hour of kids shows we watch, say a half an hour of Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles each, we would have to watch at least a half hour of educational television. And early on, that meant PBS, and then later, things like the Discovery Channel, the History Channel, Science Channel, National Geographic. So we would watch those. And as I was watching Connections, I realized just how shitty the documentaries on those channels are. I was trying to think about why that was. And I think it might be... I'm not sure if I'm using the term right. Here's the problem. I think it might be... the documentaries on those shows, on the documentary-only channels, are basically mass-produced and streamlined. They have no personality whatsoever. The difference between something like Connections and a random History Channel documentary, even if they're covering the exact same subject, if Connections is covering the Spanish trade routes of the 17th century, and a History Channel documentary is covering the Spanish trade routes of the 17th century, Connections keeps you gripped and keeps you interested and makes you look at it in a whole new way, and the History Channel documentary is just boring. The problem is, when we've streamlined and we've mass-produced these things, we've taken all the personality out of these documentaries. Documentaries is not just a mass of information for you to consume. It is not a textbook. It doesn't have to be a textbook anyway. Documentaries are films. Even if they're, a 40-minute on television documentary, it's still a film. And films have to be engaging. This is why this is why I love theater documentaries. Because 90% of the time, they have the director's personality in them. be they on camera or not. There doesn't have to be a personality on camera for there to be personality in a documentary film. My favorite documentary of all time is the 3-hour Hoop Dreams, and you never see the filmmakers in that. But even then, I would rather watch a Michael Moore documentary, and I have never ever agreed with Michael Moore, than a Discovery Channel documentary I do agree with, because Michael Moore, at the very least, puts personality into his documentaries, puts feeling into his documentaries, and if it's not emotionally engaging, I'm not learning anything. I'm not interested. So, Connections is this 10-part miniseries. The host is James Burke, and what he basically does is he kind of starts with a final invention. Let's take, in the second episode, let's take the nuclear weapon. And he has a starting invention. In this case, I forget what they're called exactly. I think they're like touchstones or something. Okay, touchstones are natural stones that thousands of years ago ancient civilizations discovered made certain kind of marks when you rubbed gold on them, and when you rubbed pure gold on them, and another kind of mark when you rubbed impure gold on them. Therefore, they were able to authenticate. They were able to define pure gold, and therefore they were able to define currency, which led to trade, which led to innovations in sailing, which led to innovations in compasses, which led to innovations in magnetism, which led to I'm sorry, brain fart. Which led to I'm sorry. Which led to advancements in electricity, which in turn led to advancements, electricity as in lightning, which led to advancements in weather measurements, which resulted in resulted in a cloud-making machine which used X-rays, which scientists were able to adapt to measure atom splitting, which was used as a precise instrument to invent the nuclear bomb. So it goes from gold identification to nuclear bombs, and it is super engaging, super entertaining. The documentary takes you all around the world. James Burke is a really engaging narrator. There are set pieces, there is big booming music. It's huge because history is huge, so the soundtrack has to be huge. James Burke is huge in a personality sense, not, he's pretty thin. And I'm enthralled because it's got personality. It's an event. When we added the cable channels that had nothing but documentaries on them, documentaries on television stopped being an event. Connections in the 70s was an event. Cosmos in the 80s was an event. The History Channel covers World War II, the D-Day, is not an event. It's something that airs every day on the History Channel. It's always World War II on the History Channel. Yeah. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this. I think it's sad that the days of event documentaries on television are gone. There will probably never be a Connections again. There'll probably never be a Cosmos again. Go back and enjoy them. And then after you've enjoyed them, just stick with film documentaries, because the stuff on the cable channels are shit. Alright. Talk to you later.